95.9. The hour radio is on 95.9. Rev-Up St. Lucia. St. Lucia. Rev-Up St. Lucia.
Have you noticed behavioral changes in self and loved ones that trouble you? You're losing your mind, but it just wouldn't go away. Well, join Dr. Phil, clinical counselor, and his beloved Clarissa, counseling psychologist, on The Healing Process every Thursday, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Rev-Up St. Lucia 95.9 FM. That's The Healing Process, Thursdays, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Rev-Up St. Lucia 95.9 FM. Let the healing process begin.
This is the healing process coming your way today, folks. When it comes to dealing with the challenges, the changes, and crises of life, it is important to seek help early. Don't sit around sucking your thumb until that chassis is on the road. The earlier you seek help, the shorter and easier it will be because there will be less of a mess to deal with. Contrary to popular notion, counseling is not just for crazy people. It's for anyone who can benefit from an outside objective expert perspective to help them enjoy their little lives to the fullest. I am Dr. Phil.
Et puis, moi, c'est clair. Bon matin, bonsoir, bonne nuit, tout le monde qui a écouté nous. En Saint-Lucie, diaspora, et puis tout côté du monde là. Nous avons dit bienvenue au programme là, aujourd'hui, The Healing Process. Merci parce que vous ensemble et puis nous contents ça. Nous avons espoir, parole là, peut baou force, la vérité et puis encouragement pour vivre la vie plus bien.
Eh bien, bien. Claire a essayé pour parler créole là, puis plus bien passé, ouais. Ça, c'est un bon surprise pour moi, bon matin.
Good morning, listeners and viewers. Starting right here in St. Lucia, the diaspora and the globe. Maybe good morning, good afternoon, or good evening in your part of the world. And we welcome you to today's broadcast. Thank you for joining us for the healing process. And we hope we can touch your life in a meaningful way. Our goal is simple: to equip you with the tools, truth, and encouragement you need to live your life to the fullest.
That's right.
Welcome as we continue our journey on the road to successful assertiveness. Our goal, to assist you climb that ladder to becoming an assertive person. Now let's remind you of what we've done so far. First, we dealt with the passive mode or style of communication. Then we went on to the passive-aggressive communication style. And today, we will discuss the aggressive and assertive mode of communication.
And keep in mind that you don't want to feel comfortable that I'm a passive person, I'm a passive-aggressive person, that's me. You know me already. No, these are not healthy communication modes. We are sharing them with you so that you can identify where you are in order to move on to assertive communication. And we are heading in that direction quickly. Today we will discuss the aggressive and assertive, if we can, if we have the time, but the aggressive mode of communication. Now, keep in mind, we are not here on a diagnostic venture. This is for the counseling room. We would want you to use the information as a mirror to reflect on where you are, your status as far as communication is concerned. When you hear about the aggressive type, do you wonder, does that describe me? If you are curious to know, then you can ask yourself these questions. Question number 1. Am I always shouting, raising my voice to get my point across? blaming, humiliating, demanding, ridiculing, accusing others to get my own way at all cost? Do I interrupt others instead of listening? Now, remember, listening is a skill that can be learned. Hearing is automatic. So when we get to defining listening, we hope that you will be around so that you can clarify for yourself, am I a good listener or am I just a hearer? Again, do I push to get my own way even when it hurts relationships? Do I push to get my own way even when it hurts relationships? Do I find myself quick to get angry or impatient when things does not go my way? Remember, you cannot always have your way. We must learn to compromise. And compromise does not say I'm a weak person. Compromise is setting a standard midway somewhere where we can both feel happy. We can both benefit from it. Do I find myself quick to get angry? Remember, it didn't say to get angry. It says quick. Because anger is an emotion that you came into this world with the propensity towards. So it's okay to get angry because anger can protect you, it can protect others. But the focus here, quick to get angry. Again, do people around me sometimes feel intimidated or afraid to speak up? Do I take no account of the rights of others? Remember the 7 basic human rights? The first one, the right to be. The blessing of choice, the right to choice. The right to learn from our mistakes. The right to be respected. The right to ask for what you want, what you need. The right to say no. The right to say yes. Now remember, passive people give up their rights. Claire?
Yes.
We went through that. The passive aggressive person would undermine the rights of others. And now we come to the aggressive type communication style. They would violate the rights of others. So they would take no account of the rights of others. Do people fear you or me? Do people who fear me or you still see me as a go-getter or one of life's winners? And sometimes the less aggressive types may admire the go-getter, not knowing his communication style is unhealthy. It is labile. It is not good. It has to be changed. Well, that's if you want. If you believe that you're turning the world with your aggressive behavior and you're doing fine, well, go for it. It's up to you. But we know for sure you won't be getting your way for too long. Many aggressive persons violating the rights of others are in the dust of the ground. Do people who fear me still see me as a go-getter? Need to ask yourself that question, or one of life's winners. Does my behavior encourage deceitfulness from others who would rather not face our wrath? I have seen counselors who would lie to themselves. He is a good person. Their face is swollen with bruises. I know he loves me, it's just sometimes he cannot control himself. But I know he loves me. They cannot accept that you are a violent person because they fear you. They cannot express that to you. They even fear telling other persons that you are a violent person because of fear. That's not a healthy relationship. If you answered yes to several of these, it may be worth considering whether aggressive behavior is showing up in your life. You need help. You are conveying the message, I will be okay at all costs. You will not be okay. You are the argumentative type. You are qualified to pass as an aggressor, an aggressive person. Your aggression might be linked to childhood experience, temperament, or some current stress you may be experiencing. And from there, let me allow Claire to take you through. Your aggression might be linked to childhood experiences, temperament, or some current stress you may be experiencing. Claire.
Yes, and when we speak about our temperament, we're speaking about the way God made us. That means whether you are phlegmatic, sanguine, choleric, and it would explain how quickly we react. Because somebody who is a phlegmatic and is passive, could you imagine? Already the phlegmatic is laid back.
Yes.
And if they have a passive mode of communication, it would further enhance the fact that it would further enhance the way they react.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's negatively.
Yes. And of course, the sanguine would be quick to act
Definitely.
and think later. And we spoke about childhood experience. And because some of us probably we've experienced some form of abuse, or we grew up in environments that we saw the aggression from maybe our parents or our caregivers. We actually saw it. So we know that we have accepted it, that this is the way to go.
As if it's normal.
Yes.
And remember this dear lady, Claire, that was seen many years ago. And she believed that aggressive behavior on the part of her dad was lacking in the behavior of her husband, interpreting that as her dad would abuse her mom physically, and he would turn around and pass Iodex on it, was it?
Mm-hmm.
But her husband would beat her up, and he wouldn't turn back. And she contrasted this and came to the conclusion her dad loved her mom, but her husband has no love for her. I saw that individual. It was very, very sad. An adult not being able to contrast the two and realize that it's not healthy either way.
Yes, and you probably saw your parents or caregivers always fighting,
Yes.
and there's always conflict and punches, beatings, different things. And you think this is the way it should be. This is the acceptable way it should be.
We're supposed to train our children according to the way that they should go, according to the good book. And training them is not just words, it's by example.
Yes,
And
being role models.
yes, and this body language would contribute to 55% out of 100 of what we communicating to them. So we are fighting, cursing one another. So the child growing up, taking breast from mommy and hearing this, being exposed to this at a very young age, will definitely interpret that as the way of life.
Yes, so from the time we're born, we're growing up as children, we start learning first from what we see.
Yes.
Because we can't read yet or know for ourselves. So based on what we see happening around us and the experiences we have, it shows up as adults. So your childhood experiences and current stress you might be going through.
Yes.
So you might be experiencing some form of stress, and you would be responding in an aggressive way. You may not necessarily want to, but it happens because you're under tremendous stress.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Claire. As I continue in aggressive communication, you honestly state your opinions, feeling, and wants, but at the expense of others. Always at the expense of others. You can be seen as intimidating, demanding, or rude. This type of communication style offends others, and the negative reaction to you can lead to lots of stress. Listeners and viewers, the good news is that aggressive communication style, or the aggressive communication style, doesn't have to define you for the rest of your life. With patience, humility, and love, you can move towards being assertive instead. Speaking the truth with respect, listening with care, and building stronger connections. You realize this listening comes up, keeps on coming up.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a good listener, 80% of your communication issues solved. So it is to your best interest to pay attention when we get to listening. Remember, this isn't about judgment. We go back there again, Claire, to reassure you. It's about awareness. Awareness gives us the power to change, to grow, and to choose healthier ways of relating to others. Remember, when we listen to people being bravoed, you usually hear persons who make others feel better, do good to others, enhance the life of others with the way they deal with them, encouraging them. You don't hear people bravoing aggressive people, except, of course, when they give them too much attention on the media when they do something that is terrible. But you don't hear that. Not too long ago, we had a pastor being ordained or being set apart as a peacemaker. It's Pastor Ben. I don't think that he would have been given that for being aggressive with people all over the place, taking advantage over people. So, as I'm saying that, congratulations, Pastor Ben, if you're listening to me. But the point is, Kina, I haven't heard aggressive people unless they force their way into this, like our president, demanding to be recognized as a peacemaker when there's no evidence of that. But I don't think that people would take kindly to an aggressive person demanding to be recognized as a peacemaker.
You need to clarify when you say our president.
The President of the United States of America, a nation, when it sneezes, the whole world trembles. So I would have to say our president, because if we do not comply in St. Lucia, we may find ourselves under his wrath. Not that I agree with his behavior, I don't agree. So Claire, I'm saying that aggression should not be. And people who know better, people who cares, or persons who care for other people, their well-being, persons who care that others enjoy their life to the fullest, they don't sanction aggressive behavior. They don't bravo you for aggressive behavior.
As aggressive persons, they don't think of the other person, they only think of themselves. It's what I want, how I want it done, and you must do it at all costs.
Sometimes, if you want to get a clearer picture, if you're in the bank and there is a passive person ahead of you, and you want to leave the bank as quickly as possible, and you just get in front of the passive person, they wouldn't say anything to you. The passive-aggressive person might curse you quietly. The aggressive person will look at you with a stare that will send shivers down your spine and get in front of you.
Or grab you and put you back where you were.
Claire, I think you said once you were somewhere and you saw somebody stealing something, but they gave you a look
Yes.
And what did that look say to you?
Get out of there and don't come back
Mind your own
in
business.
this area for the next 3 months.
So there we go. So by the body language, you knew that person. They were doing something that wasn't right, violating the rights of others. Instead of purchasing, they were stealing. But that individual, with one look, says, you had better mind your business or. So, Kina, are you an aggressive person?
No, I'm not.
Do you see anything attractive in aggression?
There's nothing attractive in aggression.
Would you marry an aggressive man?
No.
He's rich,
No.
handsome.
No.
You sure about that?
Very sure.
There we go.
Well, we have 2 stories to share with you that illustrates how aggressive behavior can show up in different settings
Yes.
and the consequences that it brings. First, in the workplace. Mr. James was a team leader at a busy office. He wanted results fast, but instead of encouraging his team, he often shouted at them when mistakes were made. He interrupted people during meetings, dismissed their ideas, and demanded that things be done his way. At first, the team worked hard out of fear, but over time, morale dropped. People stopped sharing ideas, productivity slowed, and even some employers left the company. So the aggressive behavior created a toxic environment where fear replaced creativity. So what is the lesson we can learn from this story? Aggression begets short-term compliance. In the short term, people will be so afraid they will do what you want. But eventually, it destroys trust in all areas of life, relationships and so on, teamwork and long-term success. That's what we can learn from this story. Now we have a relationship story. Sarah and David were in a relationship, and whenever they disagreed, David raised his voice. Now, we're not saying it's only the men, it's just a story.
Right.
It can be both a man or a woman.
And it has no relationship with any known Sarah, any known David. So don't be anxious whether we're speaking about you.
Well, David raised his voice, slammed doors, and insisted that only his opinion mattered. Sarah felt unheard and unsafe, so she stopped sharing her feelings. Eventually, the relationship became strained. Sarah withdrew emotionally, and the bond between them weakened, as would be expected. David realized too late that his aggressive behavior had pushed her away instead of bringing them closer together. Now, what is the lesson for us from this story? There must be a lesson. Aggression in relationships silences love and communication. Did you get that? Aggression in relationships, it silences love and communication. However, the opposite, respect and patience, will build stronger bonds. So both of these stories show us clearly that aggression often leads to fear, distance, and broken trust, whether it's at work or in our personal life.
Again, even in our sexual relationships, when a spouse would aggressively demand sex, and we have to touch that because some time ago there was a caller who asked whether whether there should be a demand, a quarrel for sex. We will come to that. But when you demand or you aggressively approach your spouse for sex, you might just get the organ, but that would be minus the spirit and the soul. When a man can have his wife's body, soul, and spirit, this is an experience that you will never forget. You can have a vagina, yes, that's easy, but to get her soul, her body, and her spirit, that's a different kettle of fish altogether. So there is no great bonus, although bonus for you, it might be temporary, you'll get your way, but inside you will be resented. and 90 days for police, or 90 days for volet, as they said.
99.
99 days for the thief,
And one
but
day.
1 day for police. It sounds sweeter in Creole. So this tells us that yes, you may get away with your aggression, but it must come to an end. What legacy do you want to leave behind? Do you want your spouse, your children, your family members, your friends, your co-workers to have in their mind, boy, if I hear that person die suddenly, party time? Or, like in the case of this gentleman called Charles Cochon. Charles Cochon was a terrorist. We know that. And what was sad, he was beaten to death by a mob. And not even his mom inquired, because he was aggressive. He did terrible things. Is that what you want? If somebody would violate my rights, kill me, I am sure many, many people in society would want to know who did that, and they would want justice on my behalf. And that's what I want. But what's about you? You're aggressive. You're violating the rights of people, and you think you're doing well. But there are a number of persons that are growing in anger against you, and payday will come sooner or later. Is that what you want? Tell me. Is that what you want, Kina? Is that what you want, Claire?
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Yes. I go down the road. I don't carry a weapon. I speak to people, the aggressive types, the nice types. I don't have time for wickedness. I don't want to die a wicked man. I want to die in peace. Amen?
Amen.
All right. So, Claire.
So we're saying that aggressive behavior, it may seem powerful at the moment, just in the moment, but its true impact is often damaging. In the workplace, it breaks down teamwork and trust. In relationship, it silences love and communication. And in everyday life, it creates fear instead of respect. So as we reflect, let's remember that aggression, it divides, but respect unites. Fear weakens, but honesty and patience strengthens. Lasting influence comes not from force, but from kindness and understanding. The challenge for each of us is to recognize aggressive tendencies, if we have them, and replace them with assertiveness, which means speaking the truth firmly, but with respect.
Yes, Claire, we can go to the saying of the wise Solomon, his caution. It's found in Proverbs 16:32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. Wow. I have pondered over that for years. A friend of mine brought it to my attention many years ago. There is wisdom in it. He that is slow. Remember, it didn't say he that doesn't get angry, Kina. He that or she that is slow to anger is in a better position than the mighty men of valor. And he who rules his spirit than he or she who takes a city.
So it does not matter what temperament you're at.
Yes,
You can display any one of the four modes of communication,
that's right.
whether you're choleric or sanguine or phlegmatic or supine or what's the other one?
Melancholy.
Melancholy.
Yeah.
How could I
And
forget?
melancholy is the one that would more lean towards the passive aggressive communication style of communicating with others, because they have the tendency to want to appear competent and in control. And if they're not managing that, if they have not put that in perspective, that could dominate their communication style. The phlegmatic would be more likely to be silent. Here again, undermining in a different way. The aggressive type would be associated with
The cholerics.
the choleric and
Mhm.
the sanguine sometimes. Yeah.
Yes. So when we choose compassion over confrontation, we build stronger families, healthier workplaces, and more peaceful communities.
Yes, there we go. I was listening to Keena and Mr. Andre Paul, and I think it was open any topic day.
Yeah.
How do you call
Or
it?
reading.
We were just
reading the-
having a conversation and a discussion on different topics.
Right. But there was this lady who was discussing political issues.
That would have been yesterday on Unrestricted Lotus.
Right. And somebody was saying that we have 17 men and women in government, and we are depending on them to deal with crime. But that is impossible. And I agreed with that. We have more power than these 17 people. Some of us are just lazy. Some of us are just afraid to look into the mirror and see the criminal there and to say, look, I'm going to say no to crime in this individual in the mirror. So thereby I join hands with the 17 as they work out the policies to do something about crime. But we keep on blaming, regardless of which party is in power. And it's impossible for them to completely eradicate crime. Crime is not when we catch people. All right? So if we're going to make any headway as far as that is concerned, we must stop the aggression in the person in the mirror. And one by one, we will see that we are helping the administration of the day in sort of managing the crime situation.
I totally agree with you.
Yes. But you all were discussing that, and somebody said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So as we leave this discussion about aggressive behavior, let's commit to bring people to being people who uplift others rather than demean others and tear them down.
Yes.
So we can make that commitment. And as Phil said earlier, what legacy do you want to leave behind? Do you want to be remembered for being an aggressive person or a loving, patient person that displays wisdom? That's for you to answer. Now, this takes us to the final mode of communication, the assertive type.
But we don't have enough time for this one.
No?
We surely can go
You
to
could
the
start
last.
it off maybe for about 5, maybe 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Keena-
unlike others,
Keena is keen to get into the assertive behavior.
it's quite the opposite to the aggressive type. Would you want to run us through it?
Yes. Number one, quite a number of persons who communicate in the aggressive mode, they think they're being assertive. They're not. Unlike others, the assertive communication type, number one, does not put down or attempt to dehumanize others. Does not attempt to do that. It does not trespass on others' rights and doesn't give up its rights either. Remember the 7 rights? The assertive individual respects the rights of others, the right to be. I would say to Keena, if I hear you dehumanizing yourself, boy, I cannot get anything right. No, sweetheart, you have a right to be on this planet. Assertive persons don't go around saying, I'm assertive. They usually found defending the rights of others. They hardly find themselves saying, I'm assertive. Again, the assertive individual does not shy away from important issues. They don't put that on the table, under the table. I don't want to discuss that now. For instance, if a husband would say, or a wife would say to husband, and it could be vice versa too, the school year is opening. We need to discuss getting the books for the children. Some husbands, I haven't got time for that now, and would turn their backs and go. The assertive person would say, come, sweetheart, let's sit. though cash is a little tight, but we need to get the books for the children one way or the other, except stealing. There we go. So, it does not shy away from important issues. On the contrary, it encourages a level of communication where everyone needs are met in the best way possible. Remember, I didn't say everyone needs are met. Sometimes our politicians would say we would give a job to everybody. That's not possible. Everyone's needs would be met. That's not possible. We'll try to make sure that everyone's needs are met in the best way possible. Isn't that fair enough, Claire?
That's fair enough.
The assertive person would avoid things like, I will never, I will always. You're not God. Always keep that in mind. Try your best to keep that in mind. I will try my best too. Up to this morning, Claire told me I'll try my best. The hallmark of this mode of communication is the I statements. This means that the communicator is always taking responsibility for the message being conveyed. Some people use the I statements where they shouldn't, and the you statements where they shouldn't at all. But we will come to that. Now, this mode is based on deep respect and confidence in self and others. When we say confidence in self, it doesn't mean that we have people like God. But we give them this feeling that I made it. I was passive aggressive. I was aggressive. And like in the case of Claire and I, this gentleman, he taught us assertiveness. You can make it. You get it? Kina?
Yes, I do.
You give them that confidence. They feel confident around you. You don't put people down. Anything they say, you will find some way to reassure them. And Claire and I were involved in that. Persons, boy, I made a mess of myself. I cannot see how I'll get out of it. But if you don't take the first step, you will not see. But let's take one step with us. Guess what? We are one step closer. So there we go. This mode is based on deep respect and confidence in self and others. Now, it doesn't say respect for everything people do, behavioral patterns in general. Some people will say, you must respect the person's choice.
My rights, my choices.
It's different. You need to respect people's rights, but you are not under any obligation to respect people's choices. I have clarified that over the year already, and some persons responded that they never realized that. If your choice is to rape and kill women for sexual pleasure, would I respect that? Of course no. But you have a right to choice. You have a right to ask for what you want. I will respect that. I will fall under the authority of that. This is what this means. To have respect for people is to fall under the authority of their behavior, their rights, their freedom to ask for what they want, the freedom to ask for what they need. So when somebody asks you for something, let's say it is one of our unfortunates on the road, we call them zombies. Some of us, we would curse them. Some of us, how dare you ask me for my money? But that individual didn't steal from you, unfortunately. So we bring it to their attention. Thank you for asking. You didn't steal from me. You're encouraging them to continue to ask, even though some don't need or some wanted to get some drug or the other. But you start by thanking them. I usually say to them, I'm really happy that you didn't steal from somebody. You asked me. Unfortunately, I don't have this on me right now. So it says I'm expressing myself honestly with careful regard for others' feelings. If I'm really in need and I want to buy a bread, and I ask, can you give me $1 to buy a bread, please? And you look at me suspiciously, let's go to the bakery. And I said, no, I don't want to go to the bakery. I want you to give me the money. You send in the message that you're not really hungry. And if you don't get, that's your problem. But if you're really hungry, please, Kina, while you're there, can you buy me 2?
Yes.
I will eat it right there. Now you're making sense. All right? So, again, express yourself honestly with careful regard for others' feelings. It says, I am standing up for myself, saying what I want while respecting the other person. See, I'm standing up for myself and what I want. I can ask for what I want, because if the person says no, I don't make them feel guilty as an assertive person. The person said no. If I'm expecting the person to say yes at all costs, I'm a thief. It's best I steal from you. But you have the right to say no, you have the right to say yes. If you say yes and in your heart you mean no, you're a liar. You're not being true.
That's true.
What you do on the outside must reflect what's on the inside. Should a person ask you for $1, or this woman asks you for a pound of saltfish to cook food for her children, if you're convinced you can afford it, you said, yes, I will give you. But if you know you cannot afford it, and you say, yes, meet me so and so, I'll give you, and you know that is not possible, you're not being honest.
You're not being
The
honest.
assertive person will say it as it is, without feeling guilty. That's the secret, without feeling guilty. Again, H, I'm confident. The assertive person is confident in what they're saying. It is driven by the biblical principle, love thy neighbor as thyself. So it's not really the helping community that discovered that. It was there long time ago. Love your neighbor as yourself. If I'm hungry and I ask for bread, I would like to know somebody would give me a bread or a drink of water. So if somebody is hungry, thirsty, I would like to know their hunger or their thirst is satisfied, just like I would want mine to be satisfied. It conveys the message, I am okay, you okay. There are no losers here. You are the facilitating type. You are assertive. No losers. Remember, the passive person would give up their rights. They're hungry. They have a piece of a loaf of bread at school, and somebody asks for peace. They would give them the whole thing. The passive-aggressive person might spit on it and probably throw it away. You're not okay. I'm not okay. It's like the cowboys in the movies fighting over 4 bags of gold. Two of them, they could easily share it. There'd be more than enough for both. But the passive-aggressive one would kick it over a cliff. Sally, you're not getting, I'm not getting. Undermining their well-being in the process. So I hope we get it. I think we can safely remain at this conjecture, Claire.
Yes, so we're saying that assertive behavior is about speaking the truth with
Yes.
respect. It's not about silence, then you'd be passive. It's not about force, you'll be aggressive. It's not about undermining, you'd be passive aggressive. It's about confidence, clarity, and consideration for others, because it builds trust. It shows a certain amount of strength without intimidation, and it inspires others to speak up too.
I had an experience not too long ago where a dear child crying, somebody accused me of stealing something. I know the person. That might hardly be so. I asked the individual, tell me something. Are you a thief? No. What do you know and God know about the situation that I didn't do that? Okay. Then do so and so and so. I don't want any connection to be made to the incident, so I'm using this language. And the individual decided to do just that because they know they were innocent. And not long after the conversation, the accuser called and said, I'm sorry, It was an error. I'm so sorry. So here we go. The individual was vindicated because the individual knew that I am not a thief. If you're an assertive person, somebody accuse you of stealing or lying, what is it that you know and God knows? And that's supposed to be the guide of your heart. And the way now you would communicate that. I did not steal that thing. I want to assure you I didn't. And the assertive person would be speaking the truth.
Yeah.
Their countenance would show it.
Mm-hmm.
However, do what you have to do. But I know I didn't do that. So, folks, we now will turn to Kina to open the line for us and communicate in a sweet voice that you will call us. Maybe if I call upon you to call us, you wouldn't respond.
We're opening up the lines now on the healing process with Dr. Phil and Claire, and we'll love to hear from you if something from today's conversation really stood out for you. If you've got a question as well you want to share or your thoughts, this is the time to call in. And here's a little, we also giving an incentive as well. The first 5 callers who actually call or chime in on the program, your name goes into that box, and at the end of the month you get a check of $200. We already have our first caller. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Kina. Good afternoon, Dr. Phil. Good afternoon, Claire.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sylvester.
Okay. Thanks for accepting my call.
You're welcome.
Let me try and be as brief as possible. Dr. Phil,
Yes, sir.
from the beginning of this program, you have used 2 words, 2 heavy words. The first one is forgiveness,
Yes.
and the one you used today is compromise. These are 2 heavy words. Yeah.
What makes it so heavy?
I don't want to be long. Because, Dr. Phil, to compromise, you have to be in a position to give and take.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, now to give, sometimes you give something you need, and then you take something you don't really need or you don't want. Huh? Is it okay?
Not really so, because if you're compromising, there are no losers.
There should be.
Yeah,
no
because-
There shouldn't be any losers. We are compromising, or we at war.
Okay.
We are in a tension situation, and like in the case of Mr. Putin and Ukraine, there is no compromise. People are not willing to compromise, saying, "Okay, I don't want the Americans on my border. If they have Georgia, they're too close." So, while Mr. Trump doesn't want people in close in Cuba, let's compromise. I'm feeling uncomfortable with the Americans in Georgia.
Yeah.
So let us
That's
get
correct.
some way in between. So you're happy, I am happy.
Because that's what I'm saying. It will be difficult to square that circle because I have to give up something I want, I need, and I have to accept something I don't really need. So how do we square that circle? I'll do somebody else.
Yes, but thanks for calling. But what stood out for you on the program? Okay. But
Thank you
thanks
so much for
Yes,
calling,
he's
Mr.
our first caller
Sylvester.
every time. Beautiful.
Also want to say good morning to those on our Facebook page that have been, sending the likes. Pious Snappy, yeah, man, actually, and Bal Augustine, thank you so much. We have a message on our WhatsApp platform, Dr. Phil and Claire, and that individual says, good morning, Rev-Up, Kina,
morning.
Doc, and wife. Love this healthy concept, especially with relationships. We have a call coming in.
Yes, and we'll get back to that person.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, hi.
Good afternoon. It's morning here though, but that's okay.
Morning, sweetheart.
I want to, before I even say what stood up with me, I just want to thank you both, Clarissa and Dr. Phil, or Miss Clarissa. And that's such a great job. Every week it's just amazing. And I just hope you guys continue the show. What
Yes.
stood with me, I listened to Miss Clarissa's questions and I asked myself, and I'm so proud that most of them were thumbs up. There was one, Dr. Phil, when you were talking like shouting.
Yes.
And in 2000, I actually remember the year 2013, I was in counseling and they asked my son, if there was one thing you could change, what would it be? If there was one thing your mom could change. And he said, so she can stop shouting. And
Oh,
that was such a big thing. And he said,
yes.
I can't listen because all I hear is noise.
Okay, okay.
So it was one of the things that I worked with. And I just
Beautiful.
want for the listeners out there that the way we speak to our children is so important. It's better we speak softly instead of
Yes.
shouting because we think we are parents. So
Right.
when you call all the, that was one thing I actually had a tick that I did. And I have worked towards it. And I'm so proud of myself that
And we're
it's
proud
really
of
hard
you.
to change. It's really, really hard because sometimes I catch myself. But
Yes.
because I'm aware of it,
Beautiful.
I try my best to breathe and speak softly and quietly instead of shouting.
Was it
Thank
that
you.
way for you when you were growing up?
Yes, my mom always
Okay.
shouts.
There we
So
go.
My
learned
mom
behavior.
hits with her hand. If we do things instead of saying not to do this, she hits and say not to do it.
But
And she says with this anger and always shouting.
caller, with our limited time, let me say this quickly. That's sweet of you to share that. The mere fact that you can share that publicly, it means that you're conquering it. And that's sweet of you to try your best to do something for the sake of your son who brought it to your attention. That's wonderful. Hats off to you.
Thank you.
All right.
And keep up the great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Persons like yourself that will keep us going as long as we know that we're doing something.
Thank you so much for calling, I, Virginia. Reminding you the numbers you have to call 572-9710. That's the studio line 572-9710. WhatsApp 2870971. Or you could send us a message on WhatsApp as well. So Nikita from Texas says, love this healthy concept, especially with relationships. And she's saying good morning. I guess she can't call, so she sent the message. Also, someone else is saying, yay! With some hearts and emojis as well. So she's
Okay.
really taking in, and loving the conversation. We actually have another caller. Hi, hello, good afternoon.
Yes, hello, good afternoon to Dr. Phil
Good
and his wife
afternoon.
Clarissa. And also good afternoon, Kina.
Good afternoon.
Talk to me.
Well, for me, the point that I got for myself is you don't have to shout at somebody so that you can be getting the person's attention. You don't have to shout at the person. And I realized that since I have my nephew, and my mother always have to shout at him for him to, so that he can get her attention. And for me, when I speak to him, he wants to do the same thing with me. And I realized when I speak to him and I told him, I don't have to shout out your name so that you can hear me. And I know that you are hearing me. I don't have to say, raise up my voice to you. I know you can understand what I'm saying to you. And when I speak to him gently, he'll say, yes, auntie, I understand.
So
So
you,
it's like when you see he wants to bring that attitude from my mother to where we at, but I try to put a stop to it.
okay. So you have already spoken to your mom, his grandmother?
Yes, I speak to her about
Yes.
it, but she's still in the aggressive way, it's my way or the highway.
Yes, that's the old folks. But understand that and continue to, in an assertive way, bring it to her attention. Be patient with her because they're accustomed to that for years and years. It will take a little time.
Yeah.
But whenever you hear it, if he brings it to your attention, speak to mommy. It doesn't matter what she says to you.
Yes, I speak to her about it the same way. She does do the same thing to me, so I try to be much more calm and don't let it get to me. But when she's in a better, I say, you speak to me that way, and I was not pleased about the
Beautiful.
way that you spoke to me.
Yes, yes. That's right. Thanks for calling.
I'm listening to the program. Okay, all right.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much for calling. Thank you
Yes.
so much for calling. We have just about 6 more minutes left on
And
today's
how many calls
program.
do we
So
need?
far, just 2 more calls we need. Two more calls. The numbers again, 572-9710. That's the studio line. I'm looking at it periodically. 572-9710. WhatsApp 2870971. Someone just actually sent a message on a WhatsApp, and the person says, I have taken time off to just listen to Dr. Phil. I learned from this subject today, especially I could go home and know how to talk to my children and my partner. Must say it's very encouraging, and I've learned a lot from him.
Thank you. And remember, it's Claire and I
It's okay.
spend time putting things
I'm not
together.
bothered.
The person chiming in, can you send me your name, your full name? Just spell it out for me so I could take it down so it goes into the box. Because I know some people, they're not able to call, but they're able to
Right.
send in,
And
a
we
WhatsApp
appreciate that.
message, and we
Yes.
appreciate that as well. So if you can, just send me a WhatsApp message with your full name, first and last. That'll be very, very good. The number is to call 572-9710. That's our studio line or WhatsApp. And call there too, 287-0971. Dr. Phil and Claire, there's so many takeaways for me on this today's program, but something that I just want to highlight, and I think that maybe as well some people are thinking of, is when you said aggression in relationships silences love and stifles communication, because a lot of us don't realize that what we're doing, we just want to get our point across, or either want the person to do exactly what we want them to do in that time. It's all about me, and that's all it is. And I also love when Claire says that, assertiveness, respect, and understanding, it builds stronger bonds. So by the time you go into that, you're actually growing with each other and building stronger bonds with the people in your life that you love. And loving, your family members, your friends, your colleagues, even at work, there are boundaries. And that respect goes a long way in how you treat them on a daily basis.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, I watched you in a tensile situation not too long ago, and I was really, really impressed with the way you handle it. You were under tremendous stress, and you listened to the individual. And after you listened, then you spoke clearly. All the emotions came out. And that individual responded in a way that was not expected. I never knew that you were going through so much.
Yeah.
It was perfect timing. You listened. You didn't say anything while the person was defending and in a passive aggressive way. But when the time came, I must say what's on my heart. And that was so beautiful. And that brought about a tremendous change in that relationship.
Yeah, I did.
So, folks, what we are saying there is something that we need. Even though the whole world is going about in an aggressive manner, we've seen the results. We can start with one person that I have control over.
Yes.
That's me. And Kina, you listen to guidance, you put it into practice, and you reap the dividends, and it's only starting to be reaped.
And I like to add to what Dr. Phil says, because a lot of the times when you're put in situations, especially when someone is defending and hey, that person is lying, or maybe there's some things that they're saying, not that they're lying, but they don't have it quite right. And we're human. So you might be remembering everything, and that person on the other end is not as good as you. So
Yes.
they're coming at you in phases of what they do remember.
Right.
And you want to get angry. You want to defend and say, well, that's how I remember it. And sometimes, really and truly, what you're doing is just causing more confusion between you two, as opposed to just saying, you know what? Staying calm, listening to that individual, allowing them to speak. And then now, after they're finished, you then come and say, you know what, I really like to say my part. And if I did hurt you, because sometimes, even when we feel like we're speaking the truth, we're telling our truth, we are, in fact, hurting someone else and not even realizing it. And saying, hey, if there's anything that I may have done that may have affected you or hurt you, I am sorry. It starts there. right? Because you really and truly don't know. We think, hey, I'm telling the truth, and you should be okay with that. But sometimes in telling the truth, that other person taking it in is being affected and is hurt by what you're saying.
Thank you, Kina. The caveat in between the two now, which I'm hoping that our listeners could get and adhere to. When the person is speaking, if you're a good listener, you listen, not desiring or thinking of what you'll answer. Listen, then reflect what you think you heard. That is what was in between the two dialogues. Did you say so and so to me? The person says, yes, that's what I said to you. All this time, while you're reflecting what they're saying, it's calming their spirit.
Yes.
Now you observe they're listening to us. They're not calling me, not giving me my last call. Come on, give me the last
Someone
call.
sent a message on there, and the
Yes.
person says, quick question. Can a person grow out of passive aggressiveness?
Yes.
Okay.
Not just grow. Somebody can learn not to be. Somebody can learn to move from passive-aggressive communication mode to being assertive. It's a skill that can be learned.
Yes.
All right.
Because we're saying that you're not born that way because of your temperament, your experiences, and the stress you're going through. We said that earlier. It may cause you to behave in that manner. So you've learned to behave in that manner. You can unlearn and become assertive.
Determining your temperament will determine how long the process might take. Because a melancholy person would feel that they're losing control. So they would be afraid. But as they move towards assertiveness and they realize, but hey, I'm really in charge. I thought I was in charge, but now I am. Now I will be respected. Now I can stand up for what I want, what I need without feeling guilty. But it will be difficult for them because they think they're actually losing ground. But you're not losing, you're gaining. Right, folks?
Well, until next time, walk boldly, speak wisely, and live and enjoy your life to the fullest.
That's right. Next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye for now.
Have you noticed behavioral changes in self and loved ones that trouble you? You're losing your mind, but it just wouldn't go away. Well, join Dr. Phil, clinical counselor, and his beloved Clarissa, counseling psychologist, on The Healing Process every Thursday, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Rev-Up St. Lucia 95.9 FM. That's The Healing Process, Thursdays, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Rev-Up St. Lucia 95.9 FM. Let the healing process begin.
Sometimes the world feels uncertain, doesn't it? However, one truth remains. Jesus is still unprecedented. Join me, Pastor Dr. Phil Lay of Beacon of Hope Ministry, every Sunday morning from 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. on Rev-Up St. Lucia 95.9 FM for the unprecedented Jesus. Each week, discover timeless truths, deep spiritual insight, and messages of spiritual healing, breakthrough, and unwavering hope. This isn't just another broadcast. Hey, it's an encounter, one that invites you to see the unprecedented Jesus as never before. Limitless, life-changing, and always near. Just to make sure you got it, the unprecedented Jesus, every Sunday morning